So in this video, we shall create this digital clock using HTML to structure the contents, CSS to do the little styles that you see, and then JavaScript to work with the time object. So let's work on that, and thank you for watching. So let's create our files. The index.html. We'll need style.css, and then script.js. So let's start with our HTML file. I'll use emit to generate the boilerplate, so I don't have to type all this. Maybe increase the size a little bit, so I think you can see this. So change the title to, we'll be creating a digital clock, simple one, digital clock, and I'll need a div with a class of flex, and this will be our main div. So it will have a child. Let me go with a container, which will also have the class of flex. That as you have guessed is to center it. So the div will also have children, and I'll go with the hour. Let's call it time. So the ID of time, and it will have a sibling, an HR, that's an horizontal rule, line, and then an ID, that's an ID of date. Let me close this here, but this is okay. So that's all we shall need for our HTML. Maybe to import the classes. So I'll bring in the CSS file that we created, that's style.css, and then at the bottom here I'll bring in the JavaScript file that we created, that's the script.js, and that's all we shall need for our HTML. So let's go ahead and work with the JavaScript. Maybe before that, I'll start our live server running here. Okay, that's what we have for now. Let's work on the JavaScript side. From the index.html, we shall define the time and the date. So we shall have a const time is equal to, and in a document, get element by ID. Element by ID, and our ID is time. Then we get the date from the document, still get element by ID, and our ID was date. Let me see if I've got that right. So this is the time and the date ID that we are picking up here. Maybe create our function. Let me just call it a watch, and this will be an arrow function, just in case you have not used one before. So it's like a normal function, but it takes in this structure. So the rest of the code will be the same as what you would write in a normal function. So our function name is watch, and takes in no parameters. So with watch, I'd like to create the date object, the date from the date object, that's the new date. Then from this, I would set our time. So time, which we have here, that is time dot inner HTML is equal to, so from the date, I would like to get the, so from this I'd like to get the time, that's date to local time string. We have it here. Let's date to local time string. I guess when we come down here and see, so we have the date there. We define a set interval here, and we call our watch. We call it after every 1000 milliseconds. That's 1 second. So if you had to look up here, and that's the time right now, it's 4:48 in the morning. So you can see that there. That's the time. We have got the time. So let's work on the date. So for the date, we'll create an array here of the days of the week, and we shall start with Sunday at the 0 index. Then we have Monday. Okay. Tuesday. Oh, we have a Wednesday here. And Thursday. And Friday. And the Saturday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Saturday. So here we shall call upon, or we shall create our, that's from the date.inner.html. We shall create it too. So from the days array, I want to pick out the date that sets the index of our date. So let's get getDay. So date.getDay will get me any number between 0 and 6. So if I put in that number into this array, that's days index at 0, that is Sunday. Days index at 6, that is Saturday. Because an array is 0 indexed, that's why we start from the 0 to 6. So that will give us the day, which is Tuesday today. And maybe to get that date, which would be our date. So these are time methods. We shall look maybe at the time object, or you can look at it and see the different methods that it has, the get and set methods for the time object of the time. So we have the day, the date, that will be followed by the month, that is still date, let's get month, and still the month also starts from 0, but we don't have a 0 month. So today we are in May, the last day of May, and it's indicating April, so you'd have to add a 1 there because it starts from 0 to 11. So that's the last day of May. And then let's see, maybe space this a little bit. Okay, let's get rid of that. We shall get the date. Let's get full year. And there we have it. We have our time and our date there. So I think with the JavaScript is done, and it has been really simple. So if you need the source code, I'll leave the link to my GitHub repo in the description. So that's it. Let's get to work on the style. In our style file here, so from the index we have a flex class, we have a main class, container class, flex class again, the time and date IDs. So let's work with that in the style. So first maybe I'll just remove some of the presets. Let's set back the margin to 0 and take our padding to 0. And I think that's all we shall need. Maybe take our font family to anything with Arial. So let's work on the body. So our body, we shall give it a display of flex. Just find the content to the center, align the items to the center, give it a full width. It's already a full width, but let's just do it. That's 100 viewpoint, and then the height, the full height of our viewport. So we get to center that in the middle, and then our flex class, that's to still center everything. So it's also be a display of flex. I just find content in the center, align items in the center, and then the flex direction. Oops. Okay. Flex direction. That's the column. So we are good to go with that. Let's work on our main class. I created the main class instead of using the main tag. I would work with a defined width of 330 pixels. Maybe height, let me do something less than that, 200 pixels. Background color, something close to, let me go with white, and then we give it a box shadow. Go with an, okay, that's a good idea. 1 pixel, 1 pixel, those 5 pixels, and we use a black color. Let's black, but reduce the alpha to 0.3. This is what we have. Do we have the main class? And that's okay. The main class is over here. We'll call them a CSS file. Let's style it CSS. Okay. It didn't change anything on this side. So I gave it a little height, background color. Still want it at white, so increase that a little bit. I'm still not in it's RGB. Okay, that's okay. So give it a border radius 10 pixels, and that's working fine. So that's it for our main class. Let's work on the container class. It's a container here. So we should give the container width 50 pixels less than the main class. That's 300, and then height still 50 pixels less. That's 150. If I get that right, we give the main 200. Okay, that's fine. Then the background color, take it to white. So I'll also give it a box shadow, but this time it will be an outer shadow, and it will be let's take 5 pixels, 5 pixels in the Y. Then increase the bra 15 pixels, GPA. Bring the black 0, 0, 0. Take the alpha down to 0.3. That would work. I'll give it a border radius of still 10 pixels, just like the parent. I think that would work. Maybe from the main class, I'll change this a little to make it a bit different. That's too much. So that would work. So I'm okay with that. And back to our time ID. I think I just give it a bigger font size. Let's go with the 3, something very big, so you can see that. Oh, it's 5 already. Maybe increase its font weight to something bold, 700. And then we can't see our our line anymore, so the horizontal line, give it a width of 200 pixels. Maybe give it some margin, that's of 10 pixels vertical, and then 0 horizontal. So that's okay. So work also on our dates, the date styles. So we have Tuesdays. I think we shall also just increase the font size, something like 1.2. That's fine, and then the font weight to 500. That's fine too. And so I think we can work with this. I think this is okay. This is the time, the digital clock that we have built with only HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you like this video, please express yourself by hitting the thumbs icon. And if this is the type of content you want, the plan is to make more of this, so you can subscribe to the channel. Thank you.